Huh. I just gotta take all that in. So as you said, IT has many different sectors, and IT is a major field in the world. Of course, these days in our virtual world, this virtual podcast, everything's all. I mean, technology. If you're good at technology and you're gifted, I bet you businesses would hire you. And so, I wanted to ask you just a couple questions, as you alluded in your talk about your school. Alluded to it. I want to ask you what is IT and what kinds of jobs can you get in it?
So, as stated before, IT stands for information technology. So, in the information technology world, the difference between the information technology world and the computer science world is that information technology, you have a wider, more broader of options. Meaning, if you want to work in just networking, creating and protecting a network, you can. If you want to work in cybersecurity, what have you. If you want to do cloud computing, if you also want to do what other, there was networking, cloud computing, cybersecurity. What are the ones? I had one here on the top of my head. Brain fart. Jason, help me. We spoke about this off air.
You could talk about cybersecurity analyst.
That's what I'm saying. I already named it. Cybersecurity. Right. There was.
You could work on building servers. You could work on.
Yeah, there you go. Server. Firewall as well.
Firewall.
Creating and designing a firewall, which is in the So something I learned was that once you get so with my ITIL Information Technology Infrastructure Library certificate that I attained last year, that is just to get your foot in the door, and if you really wanted to, you can work at an IT help desk, just sitting there as a receptionist, pretty much. That's all you can really do. But as soon as you get like other certificates, like for example, I'm working on my Security Plus, and what I learned through intellectual point with Security Plus is that because you're inexperienced, they'll stick you with designing and putting up a firewall and managing that firewall. And as soon as you get, the more experience you get in the IT industry, the more, you'll get promoted. So you go up and up and up, and you'll never reach like that ceiling. You can always attain different certificates within the IT industry, to continue going up in the IT ladder per se. Because I've spoken to different IT people as well, and some of them, are bored of. They move from computer science to the IT world because they're bored. They're bored of developing apps, maintaining the app. They want something more challenging. So the reason why the only reason that you go from computer science up to IT is because you're bored and you want to, go up against, want to move up in your career. So, yeah, pretty much. The IT field is big. We did discuss, networking, cybersecurity, and IT help desk, and amongst others, that you can work in the IT field. Again, the IT field is bigger than the computer science field.
Right, and what kinds of jobs can you get with cybersecurity? Because I mean, if you think about it,
go ahead.
Yeah, if you think about it, and for those who because I talked over him a little bit. There's a delay, of course. Of course, I don't live in Virginia. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. So, just for everybody to know, with cybersecurity, I mean, there's so much going on. It affects our privacy. It affects everything. You got Iran, you got the North Korea hacking into Sony. You've got all kinds of things going on. So, I guess my question is, what made you go into cybersecurity aside from, hey, maybe I want to, but what made you go into it, and how important do you think it is in today's world?
So again, with the cybersecurity, I just felt like it was my go-to. Just because. So I started off being a computer science, study, but because I realized that computer science is also, heads up, folks, if you guys don't know this, is that along with the computer science, it's a lot of math. So if you are into math and the headache with math along with coding, all hats off to you. You know, but because because math and creating applications and coding went hand in hand, I wasn't really willing to deal with that headache. So I wanted to do something in the computer science field that wasn't much of a headache. It was very easy to do as well. So I looked into the IT field and I realized a lot of people are in the cybersecurity field. So I looked up what that entails, and that entails a lot. It's much easier, a lot less stress, and again, it depends on what job you want in the cybersecurity or IT field, because some of it can be easy, some of it can be really really hard, like us again, like doing working for Cisco or cloud computing, because fun fact, we're now moving into an era where people are going to be storing things in their cloud, and I learned that in college. So you have that option of learning cloud computing. What made me get into the cybersecurity field is I'm curious to see how a server works, how you know what motivates a hacker, a criminal for that matter, in the webs. What motivates them to get information from people using the internet. So I'm always curious. The easy. Also, how can people breach firewalls as well? So that's always caught my attention, and through certain tools that you use also in the IT field is using virtualization, and we're definitely getting get into that, what virtualization entails, because you cannot study IT without knowing what virtualization is. And again, we can define that here in a few seconds if you would like, Jason.
Yeah, yeah. So, and just off the top of my head, I think I could name some jobs with cybersecurity, as you said, cloud computing, uh, cybersecurity analyst, as we listed before, um, an ethical hacker, because the government, the CIA, the NSA, the DHS, they all have hackers. Edward Snowden came out talking about how they use an exploit, which is a type of code to launch at your phone, which is you are the target, and they can actually attack and hack your phone. Um,
If you want to be a network administrator, that's also an option, because I know that my brother, he's also was into IT, but because it was so unfortunate that the school did this to him, that he's an IT person because he loves messing with passwords and dealing with servers and routers and stuff. You can also become a network administrator, which is dealing with the routers, switches, anything in those fields as well. Um, that is another option. Even though you just I don't know if you've seen this in your schools, where someone provides you with a password. That is known as a network administrator, because they are administrating your Wi-Fi, your Ethernet cords, and your switches, and if identifying traffic as well. So that is another field. But I don't know the statistics on it, but I hear that with network administrator, you can get kind of bored with it. But again, I don't know the number. That's what I heard. Because again, network administrator, you're literally just sitting there, um, creating passwords, maintaining the network. You can go up and do other things, pretty much. So yeah.
Now, isn't with and that's kind of like your Cox cable, DirecTV, Dish, CenturyLink, and whatever other people you got. That's what it sounds like to me. Isn't IT too? Isn't it like you can build computers, you can put computers together, you can, assemble equipment, things like that?
So I don't know what that will fall under. I want to say that's IT, but that's more of dealing because I think so. It's unfortunate that because my college kind of wasn't working out for me. I was gonna go into that because I think that that's IT, but don't quote me on it because that's also studying the architecture of computers, learning to put them, take them apart and put them back together. But again, don't quote me on it. I want to say that it's IT, but I'm not sure. It could also be parts of the computer science because I know that. So when you learn about parts of a computer, another fun fact is that no matter where you go, because I remember when I switched over to IT, my IT degree in college before I dropped out was at the beginning of the course of an introductory course, you still needed to learn the parts of the computer. And it rang a bell. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. Like I remember when we went through the assignment, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember I studied this for my computer science course. I'm like, I didn't know that this was, linked. So that's a link for computer science and IT, is that they all IT and computer science deal with computers. So um as the answer to your question, don't quote me on it. I could be wrong, but I want to say it's IT because I remember I was going to study a course regarding the architecture of the computer. But again, don't quote me on it.
And Oscar said, quote, it's part of, no. I just had to do it.